Hey, so this is part two. That first video I was just recording got cut off early, so this is now going to be part two. I'll upload it second. So again, with the sun, I told everybody in the group I was really bullish about this analysis, and I'll show you guys exactly how I explained it in Discord to the private group, so you can see how I break it down if you're considering getting into the group. I could use the support. I'm just getting back into the game. I'm really doing well right now, and I love the opportunity to help you guys become better traders and share my analyses with you. So I like showing you exactly how I share information with the group and how the group and I both benefit from my analyses. If you're curious and want to see it, I'll post some stuff about that later. So again, Sun, really great trade. Just got this insane breakout, and it's really just starting. I think there's a ton more potential here. And overall, I was expecting a potential target. I didn't set this as an exact target, but I was thinking 60% based on a few other details, looking at the fib extensions, could be a very realistic target for this breakout. So I think it could go even higher mid to long term, but at least short term, we might see a really strong and aggressive pump as high as 50 to 60%, but we'll see how that plays out. All right, so that's Sun. A lot of my other trades have been doing really well. We have Link, which has been exceptional. In the case of Link, we got about an 18% run from my entry. Now, this went two ways. I had a shorter term and a mid to long term hold on this. I didn't have a stop loss, so even though it dipped down like this, it didn't hit a stop loss. I didn't actually get stopped out on this trade because with many of my more recent trades and several examples, I didn't apply a stop loss because I expected to get quick little dips like this before a leg up. I wasn't exactly sure about the precise bottom. Unlike with Sun, right? With that SUN trade I just showed you, I anticipated the exact bottom because of my IchEMA dynamic support. And using my IchEMA model coupled with my Stoke model, I was able to predict and model that exact bottom before the breakout, so that's a little bit different. In that case, I could place a tight stop loss. In this case, it's a mid to long-term hold. I'm continuing to hold. So far, we're up 20% with a lot more potential. In this particular example, about 125% run is expected all the way to that wave 3 target at the 1618 extension. So I'm thinking we go all the way up to about $60 on Link on this bull run. This bull run should last multiple months, but it does have to pick up pace later on because right now it's starting to slow after the initial breakout on the rest of the market, but there's still so much potential there because if you look at the monthly Stoke, let's wait for that to pull up. You'll see in the monthly Stoke, we really just turned up, right? So this tells me there's 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 more months of bullish activity on these alts and on the majors that are in the pipeline. So we're really just seeing the beginning of this run in certain instances. Looking at some of the other guys, more recent trades. Let's see. Well, Bake, here's Bake. And this is a trade that I just shared with the private group. I'm now sharing it publicly. It hasn't even broken out yet. So in this case, we have this wedge formation with a stable trendline resistance. We're just starting to peak above that resistance. So in this case, it's actually quite early. If you wanted to get into Bake, it's actually not a bad time to get in. In this case, I was able to place my stop loss 2.75% below my entry. So that's a pretty tight stop loss, not super low risk. But it's not bad. In this particular case, realistically, I probably could have placed my stop loss a lot tighter, but I wanted to open up myself to a little bit more risk just to make sure I didn't get stopped out on like a quick wick down or anything like that. Another more recent entry that I just got into last night with the group is JST. In that case, we're already breaking up. Now, you can see some consistency here. I just taught you guys about my IchEMA model and how I'm able to use my IchEMA dynamic supports to predict that trend reversal and that next bullish breakup. Right here, we're bouncing right on the 55 EMA, just like I showed you with my Sun trade and my Sun analysis, right? So that's why it's really helpful. If I ever share trades publicly and I'm showing you guys after a 20% breakout, I'm not just showing it to you because I want you to say, whoa, I should sign up for Flux Trading Group and learn from Jesse because I could have made a lot of money if I got into this trade earlier. Obviously, I want to entice people to join my private trading group to help support me, right? It's important to me that I can bring new people into the group, especially now that I just got back after taking some time off. But other than that, it's still really important to look at these trades after the fact. Because by showing you this trade and the Sun trade, right, even though you weren't able to get in early with the group, you still have seen how I was able to predict and model such an accurate bullish trend reversal, right? So now the next time you're looking at the charts and you're using my model, even without using me to teach you with the group, even if you just start learning on your own, you'll be able to identify these patterns on your own and find these trades on your own in some cases. So it's really helpful to look at them after the fact and go back and see how it played out, so you can kind of build that knowledge base and understand how I spot these things and how I'm able to so accurately and effectively predict these market moves. Are there any others I can show you guys? I'll show you one more. So I have a whole list here. A bunch of these are open trades. Some of them are just things I've been watching here and there. I have, Cody, Algo, Doge, Matic. I haven't entered those yet. I was about to, and then I decided to wait a little bit longer because I wanted to try to find that perfect entry. I'm probably going to be entering into at least one or two of those trades today. I may share one or two of them publicly. We'll see. Maybe I'll share publicly when I first get in. But at least for now, just to show you another trade that I think is incredibly bullish, this one on ELF is still really early. So this was my entry. It's really early. We have a bit of a wedge forming here. We're starting to peak above that wedge, so it could mean that the breakout is imminent. But once this breakout occurs, I'm expecting an extremely aggressive bullish move here. We do have a bearish pennant because we do have that flagpole coming down, and now we have that symmetrical wedge which forms that pennant formation, right? However, if you pull out and you look at the other time frames, you'll see the daily model on the Stoch just turned up, and we haven't really seen a big turn up on the price action. We could theoretically run all the way up to 70 cents before hitting any resistance once we get the initial breakout, sort of like on this last pump here, right? Just a few big candles get all the way up here to about 70 cents. And even that would be a nice 15 to 20% run. So we could potentially see at least that move before we get any strong resistance, but we do have to get above the 55 EMA. If you look on the daily chart, you'll see we got a big rejection on this move up from the 55 EMA. That's one of my IchEMA dynamic support and resistance levels. So we got rejected. Once we get above that 55, we're wide open. We go right to 70 cents. Then if we break into the cloud, then we keep going up and we end up with a 45% run going all the way up to 85 cents. So there's a ton of potential here. I really like the way ELF looks here. I've been buying little bits, and right now I'm sitting on a pretty nice sized position for a mid to long-term hold. There's only 24 hours left on this weekly chart, and if you look at this, right, this weekly candle is going to end in one day, and then we're going to start that next candle. Given how low and oversold the Stoch is here, there's a really good chance we could start that next weekly reversal. And if we get that weekly reversal here, we're going to see an explosive move that's going to last anywhere from 3 to 6 weeks. So we could see a really strong run to above $1 at the very least on ELF. So ELF is not a trade where you want to have a really tight stop loss because it's really hard to predict tiny wicks that go up and down. It's not uncommon to see a 5 or 10% dip or a 5 or 10% pump before it returns to normal. So it's hard to get in with a tight stop loss on a precision short-term trade, but a mid to long-term trade, if you're willing to hold it for weeks and months, without a stop loss, without putting too much money into it. You want to put less money into it so you're not risking too much capital. But if you were to do that, you could potentially get in early on a really, really strong run here. So we're looking really bullish on ELF. And that was the other one I wanted to show you guys. As a mid to long-term hold, ELF is in an incredible position here. And again, Sun is continuing to pump even higher. I can't even tell you guys how excited I am about this particular trade. Last night, I'm going to show you guys what I was talking about with the group, but I broke this down to the group and explained just how bullish and how aggressively bullish I was, and it's been playing out flawlessly. Sol is another trade. I didn't share this publicly. This was just for the private group, but look at this. I predicted this reversal flawlessly. I got in right here, right as we were on this 55 EMA, the 99 EMA, the blue line. And then I expected a potential tiny dip down to this trend line support. And sure enough, that trend line support started this amazingly strong bull run right back up. And we went on essentially a 40% straight shot up. I haven't sold any or taken any profit yet. If you look at the 4 hour, we're starting to turn up. So there's probably a lot more potential here. In fact, we have a bit of a bull flag forming. If I drop down to the hourly model, let's get some more candles here. I can show you we have a bullish pennant actually right here. See? So we got a stable trendline resistance there, a nice trendline support here. Give us that flagpole. So this is actually a potentially good time to enter for a short-term trade. There's just no way to get it with really a tight stop loss, it might be difficult because we might get a quick wick down. But you can see the yellow line here? That's one of my IchEMA dynamic supports. See how well it's holding? We came down and it held right at that 55, right at the 55. Came back down again. Still, it's holding right above that 55 EMA. That 55 EMA is a really good support because my IchEMA model creates these incredibly powerful and stable and consistent dynamic supports. So just to see if there's a good fresh entry right here on Sol, if you wanted to get into a short-term trade, let's see. If you were to buy in right here, where could you place a stop loss? So in theory, if you could buy in right here, place your stop loss 2.5% below your entry, right? See that? So if you were to buy at the current price, right here at 198.98, so essentially 199, and your stop loss goes 2.5% below your entry at 193.87, right? That would mean that between your entry and your stop loss, you have this yellow line, the 55 EMA, and this white line, that trend line support. And remember, that trend line support has been a good, consistent trend line support that's provided a lot of, actually, you know what? I would even move that a little bit higher. That trendline support has been great, so you could use that as well for support. Check it out. If I actually do it more like this, you'll see we're right in the apex. As you get into the apex of these wedge formations, that's when you get a high likelihood of a big breakout. Because once you get into the apex, you're expecting either a big dump down or a big breakout up. One way or the other, we should see a strong bullish or bearish move. So if I was looking at my other indicators, like the Stochastic oscillator, which is nice and low and starting to turn up, or the fact that we don't have any bearish signals or bearish divergence on the RSI, everything about this tells me we're most likely going to see a bullish move. So if we break out from right here, once we get above this main trendline resistance, we're probably going to push to the all-time high, the most recent high, which was at 215, and we're most likely going to go considerably higher. If that were to happen, at the very least, you could expect a 9% run to the prior top. And beyond that, we could see a 15-20% run over the next 2 or 3 days if we get that bullish reversal. Although, let me check the daily model. The daily model is actually really high on the Stokes, so we would have to go hyper bullish. That's the one thing that's a little concerning about this. So everything I just showed you for Sol looked really good, but now that I'm looking at the daily model, I'm thinking instead of it being a medium low risk or low risk trade, I would classify it as a medium high risk trade. Everything I said still holds true. It's still a really good potential setup, especially since you can place your stop loss just 2.5% below your entry, which means worst case scenario, if your stop loss gets hit, you're only losing 2.5%. You're not taking a big loss. So it's still a nice, attractive trade, but instead of being medium low risk or low risk, I would classify it as a medium high risk trade. Just because of that daily model turning down, it's unlikely we're going to get too many bullish days, but at least in the short term, we could get a nice move up. And then if we do turn hyper bullish on the daily and continue upward, we could see an explosive move. Right now, I'm most excited about Sun because we're getting this big initial breakout that I predicted with such stunning precision. I haven't actually, these last two candles from the last 2 hours, I haven't gone into the group to talk to the premium members, but I can't wait to do so. As soon as I finish recording this, I'm going to go talk to the guys because I'm sure right now they're in the chat talking about how incredible this analysis was and how much money they made. So I'll do another public update later. Hopefully this gives you guys some positive vibes and makes you feel confident about potentially entering some trades. I'm still extremely bullish. I do expect short-term corrections here or there, but overall, I am maintaining an extraordinarily bullish outlook. Unless there is some really big negative news that causes the market to tank because some country shuts down all Bitcoin servers, I don't know. Unless there's some black swan event or some crazy negative news, I'm expecting to maintain this multi-month bull run like I've been predicting for months. I've literally 4 months been predicting an aggressively bullish multi-month bull run, and I have been right I've been right 99% of the time, because there was that one time I expected a 3 to 6 week correction and we only got a 1 week correction. Other than that, my mid to long term models have been absolutely stellar. So based on prior history, based on prior performance, I would say you can have a reasonably high level of confidence if you're trusting my models and analysis. And if I happen to be wrong, I'll recalibrate my models. I'll come up with a fresh analysis and see where I think we're going. But at least right now, I'm not going to change my strategy and I'm not going to change my models, because over the last few weeks, months, and even the most recently entered trades in the past few days, I have been on fire. So I'm going to trust that model, keep going. I'm going to enter some more trades, and at some point, I will share some new trades publicly as well. Most of my content, again, is just for the private group, but if you're in a position to support me and you want to join the group to help me out and you want to learn more about how I trade and you want me to teach you all about my strategies and models and share all of my trade ideas and analyses with you, I would really appreciate the support. You can find info in the description. I break it all down and share the link to the Discord group if you want to jump in and see what your options are for joining. But I would really appreciate the support. It would help me out a lot. But at the same time, it would make me feel good to be able to teach you guys, because I really like teaching people, especially newer people who are more recently getting into the trading world. Because if you don't have somebody to educate you and look out for your best interests, it's a wolf's den out there. It's really tough and it's really easy to lose money and make big mistakes. So if you don't want to join the paid service, I would still suggest you guys reach out to me via DM. Ask me any questions you like. I'm always happy to help, even if you're not in the group. I don't mind answering a few questions here or there just to look out for you and help you guys protect yourselves. All right, that's it. If you do have any questions, feel free to jump into the Discord group. It's free to join the Discord group. You just can't access the premium and the private group unless you are in the paid membership. But you can join the Discord server, and from there you can send me a DM or you can ask me questions in the public chat channel. And again, I'd be happy to answer it, and I'm sure there are other members of the group who would be happy to answer newer traders' questions if you're looking for some advice on how to get into certain things or how to start trading or whatever. You know what I mean. So that's it for now. Trade safe, trade smart, and I'll talk to you soon.